Respect, honest to God.
Man, he deserves mad respect. He deserves all the respect. That's why I call him the Steve Jobs of crypto, bro. Straight up.
I think that's going to age very nicely. If I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's weird how people choose, like they pick and choose who they respect and who they don't. And like some of the people who they respect over the people who they don't respect doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And the more and more I start learning this space, the only person that sounds super clear is Marshall. Everything that he's built, it makes sense with a clear direction. I can't really say that too much about other projects in the space, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really weird, man. We live in like this era of trust and building relationships, and you know, people, everybody, at least from my perspective, they come into crypto wanting to make money, but then they it's like they follow a bunch of people that don't be actually making money in this space.
Yeah, bro, that shit is crazy to me, bro. Crazy.
Like, why would you follow somebody who's not a millionaire to learn how to become a millionaire? You know,
Yeah.
like you and I are both, you and I are both millionaires. So when people come into our community, they reflect those characteristic traits because they feed off of our energy, they feed off of our knowledge, they feed off of our information, and then they make money.
Yeah.
Why would you choose to follow influencers on the internet that act wealthy instead of following people on the internet who are wealthy? It's like, why would you go learn basketball from somebody who's not a professional basketball player to play basketball?
Yeah, bro. Spot on, bro. Spot on. Spot on. Spot on, bro. And that's what's deceiving in the space. We can't see people's resume on how good they are at this thing called crypto. You know what I mean? Eventually, I feel like everything will be super transparent where we could potentially see each other's wallets and know exactly how to get to someone's wallet and see what someone's working with. And at that point, it's like, yo, you know, be careful who you follow and make sure you do the back homework to make sure that they're as successful as they make themselves sound on their YouTube channel. And there's so many people who sound super smart, but they don't even have the correct credentials to even be talking about such, you know, topics. It's crazy. It blows my mind.
Yeah, but that's that smoke screen, that curtain that you gotta peel back when you first come into crypto. Honestly, even if you're 2-3 years into crypto, you still gotta peel back that curtain. It's so bad, bro. It's so bad nowadays. I just put out a post a second ago that said like 95% of influencers on the internet right now, they're just entertainers, bro. They literally are just there to feed people hopium and price predictions and thesis and theories on how these digital assets are going to get to these high prices, and it never comes into fruition. Like, how are people not sick to their stomach with that stuff? Hearing it every day, $1,000 XRP, la la la, and it just never happens, bro. You just get dumped on. It's wild to me.
Yeah, facts, bro. Super facts, bro. A lot of price points that were talked about, you know, before certain cases were going on, and they said, you know, when this case ends, this price is going to go here. And you know, none of that shit comes true. None of that shit comes true. But you know who is spot on with their assessments and talking about, you know, where the price could potentially go is yourself. There ain't nobody that is as accurate as you are on the internet talking about the price of XRP, to be real frank with everybody that's tapped in right now. A lot of people call out prices on XRP that never come to fruition. Never. And those same people never get called out on their shit. It's got to stop, man. It's got to stop.
I mean, CYPRX, you know, bro, we're the only community with access to institutional insights. People really don't believe that, you know, you can tap into institutional data and dark pools and delta zones, but if you partner with the right people and you know the right people in the space, like we do in CYPRX, then you can, and we did. And it's, you know, live and breathe and proof, bro. I mean, a lot of people don't really understand what moves the markets, how institutions pay attention to volume, and yeah, it's a very great time to be alive if you're tapped into the right information. I'm sharing this post here because I'm super excited about this, bro. CYPRX Wealth 28 link up 4 weeks away, baby.
Yeah, it's gonna be an epic time. It's gonna be epic time. Invite
What other
only.
invite only? What other influencers on the internet are renting out a multi-million dollar mansion for their team to
Yeah.
exclusively invite 20 plus people to come and kick it with them for a couple days? I don't see that in the space. Pretty sure we're the first ones.
And have some super alpha. I can only imagine how alpha the conversations are gonna get when we all get together. It's gonna be some super alpha going down in those convos.
Lots of profitable traders are coming, man. Like, I'm pretty sure all the guys that are coming are all profitable off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody that's coming in terms of the dudes that are coming, I mean, myself, you, right? Looking at our portfolios, the other people that are coming and knowing what amount of capital they manage and trade, it's going to be real cool. Just
Yeah.
being in an environment with people that actually know about the markets and
Know the truth about the markets. Don't come with like some weird opinion that was formulated over the years and just snowballed into some weird opinion. And like they believe that opinion is real. It blows my mind, bro. And yeah, I'm thankful for the CyPRX community. Real talk. I can't wait. It's gonna be a great time.
when I wrote this post, I was thinking of the reason that so many traders and investors fail in this space, and it's simple. Too many people are chasing the same outcome, and that's making money, the making money outcome. And too few people are focused on the actual process that it takes to make money, keep that money, and grow that money. Everyone wants the reward, but almost nobody wants to master the discipline and the skill set that it takes to get there. Right? It's crazy to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You flip that script, and if you focus on mastering yourself and protecting your craft, the money follows effortlessly. When you start telling yourself every day that you're awake, that you're aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it and why you're doing it, that's how you shift from this whole entire chasing profits narrative to actually creating the profits, and people aren't willing to do that nowadays, man. It's weird. Like I said, we're in this era of information, but we're also in this era of extreme ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like too, when you take care of yourself, it feels great to, you know, be healthy, be super athletic, especially at my age, being able to bench press X amount of pounds and to have that feeling along with your portfolio growing, it's an unmatched feeling. Really, it really is because you just feel like, and I know you experience it too. You're just like, man, like I'm really grinding and I'm really seeing the fruits of my labor. My chest is getting bigger, my abs are showing, my portfolio is beasting, and it's the little things that I do on a daily basis to chip away to get to where we're at. You know what I mean? So, and consistency too. Consistency. Like not it doesn't feel good working out every single day. For me at least. Like some days I'm like, man, I don't want to do this, but like when I do it afterwards, I feel great. And so
You feel rewarded, bro. I mean, not every day is an entrepreneur if you are an actual entrepreneur. I mean, in general, just even if you're a 9 to 5 gig worker, right? Not every day is a motivational day. Not every day you're gonna wake up and feel like getting out of bed. But that's what separates the weak from the strong, the successful from the unsuccessful. Is the successful people, they push through that feeling and they discipline themselves and they show up. They show up, they're consistent, they're strategic with what it is that they do, where they put their money, how they allocate their time. And that's seriously what separates the weak from the strong at the end of the day. It's
facts,
that
bro.
simple.
Facts.
Bro, Marshall Hayner put out this post a second ago, and he said, "We will reverse the course of history where young people look back not on the debt that they accrued, but the money that they saved, earned, and invested. We will teach them to fish, and they will teach their children to fish. Money is a concept, and that concept is metal." Aside from the fact that he said at the end, this concept is metal, bro, this literally sounds exactly what we've been preaching to people in the Well 28 Club. Like,
To the T.
now is now is not the time to want to sell your digital assets for fiat, y'all.
1000%. It's time to get it working. And when he's talking about teaching them how to fish, you just got to look at the Metal X ecosystem. There's farming, there's pools, you got loan protocol where you can, lend out your assets, borrow against it. There's so many ways, staking right within the WebAuth wallet. There's just so many ways to earn with these digital assets in his ecosystem. And yeah, I mean, definitely going to be teaching the kiddos. We've been talking about teaching our kids this stuff. I know you talk to your kids about crypto. I talk to my kids. They hear their dad talking about it all day long. So like, it's going to be inevitable. They're going to learn all this stuff. But
I'm
yeah,
already teaching my daughter on how to invest in NFTs, how to stake NFTs, how to earn yield directly in her wallet, how and when to buy when there's blood in the market. Like I guarantee you, if I go look at my daughter's recent crypto purchases, she's probably buying the last 2 or 3 days because the market was down over 100 billion. My daughter knows how to open up TradingView. She knows how to go in and understand, look, when the market's down 100 billion, those are the days that she should be buying in her portfolio with her, little tiny earnings that I give her for her chores throughout the week, this and that. And I do it all digitally. She's not opposed to, like, she's the one that came to me and was like, yo, dad, can I learn about this stuff? You should run with that if your kid does that.
yeah,
100%. Absolutely. Come
100
sit on my lap. Let me teach you, because this is going to be your future, not mine.
facts,
And I mean, it is going to
bro.
be our future, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I feel like I've been on the same tip. Like with my dad, I got my dad the WebAuth wallet. I would have got my 16-year-old the WebAuth, but you got to be 18 with a a license or a valid identification. So he's got to wait out on that. But I got him the Trust wallet, and I got him the metal. I got him some metal XPR and the MTL token on the Ethereum chain on the Trust wallet. So there's always a way.
Yeah, there's some comments right now that I want to respond to, but it's just not the sake of today's video breakdown. Shout out to Rob. You young cats are teaching this old dog new tricks. I love to see it. I love to see it. Actually, as a matter of fact, we have a very large population of older people in the CYPRX community that woke up and realized, like, hey, look, these young people might know a little bit more than me, and that's great. You should never cease to want to further your education, no matter how old you are. Don't think that your age determines your knowledge curve, because that's not at all. In my personal experience, I honestly have more experience than most 55-year-olds nowadays. I've been to war twice. Like, you can't. Life is all about experiences. Life is about what you've been through. That's where education comes from. What you've experienced in this life, what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you haven't accomplished, things of that nature. Not age is just some number. You
Yeah.
got to look past that. Because I'm not going to shout him out on this call, but there's a young cat in crypto who's not even 18 yet, and I'm always looking at insights and how he's teaching about the markets
Yeah.
and what he's doing.
I know
you know
exactly what you're talking about.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? Yeah, because he's been spot on most of his career. So
Yeah.
why would I ignore that? I'm a seeker of information, not a person that acts like I know it all.
Yeah, that's real. Gotta be
Um,
moldable, have that humility to learn.
for the person that said something about the XRP staking, we're going to talk about staking today, but it's not going to be on the XRPL or anything XRP related, in a sense. If just to answer your question right off the bat, I wouldn't personally at this moment in time trust any third parties for staking or locking up my XRP outside of the Metallicus ecosystem at this moment in time. Um, that's just me personally. Again, not financial advice. Do your own personal risk. But having seen recent exploits in the space and having seen, the lack of regulatory clarity around the DeFi ecosystem, just again, do your personal research. If you are going to test out these platforms that are being built out now on the XRPL and integrated with the XRPL EVM sidechain and everything that Flare Networks is building and everything like that, if you are going to test them out with small amounts, micro amounts, learn a strategy, prove profitability with small micro amounts, and then go, full force once you're comfortable with the risk, once you're comfortable with the user interface, and you've actually tested it out for a couple months, given time for these platforms to build in TVL and actually go through auditing processes and things of that nature, and just understand that we're at such an early stage in DeFi adoption that getting involved now, um, there's an inherent risk that you have to be willing to accept. And if you're willing to accept that, move forward. And if not, don't remain sidelined. Don't not engage yourself in DeFi. Instead, just take an educational approach. We constantly, are trying to get people to see that you don't have to risk your digital assets to learn about DeFi. Myself and Aqua have literally gone and created thousands, probably now a video breakdown and materials for you guys to learn DeFi so that you don't have to risk your digital assets. You can literally just watch us risk thousands of dollars, and the mentors that we have in the Wealth 28 Club risk thousands of dollars so you don't have to. That's the approach that I would personally take. But that's just me again.
Yeah.
Back to what Marshall was saying, because I don't want to get off topic. This video breakdown is primarily on the Metallicus ecosystem. So Marshall's saying the, reverse course of history where young people are going to look back, not on the debt that they accrued, but the money that they saved and earned. Aqua, bro, you point this out all the time. There's so many problems in the digital asset and crypto ecosystem that the Metallicus blockchain and the Metallicus ecosystem solves, but it seems like nobody gives them credit for that. So like, I'll give an example, right? This is Stacey Warden, and she's talking about this like looping cycle. I'll play this video clip here in a second, but she's talking about, earning yield on your digital assets every single second of every day, taking that yield and having the ability to go out and pay for your everyday goods and services with that yield, right? Well, that's already available right now in the WebAuth wallet to this day. We're running those strategies in the Wealth 28 Club, taking our assets, earning passive income, looping those strategies to earn more yield, compounding those rewards. And if we want to take those rewards and go buy ourselves cups of coffee or go pay our utility bills with them or whatever we need to do for our day-to-day services, we can do that right now in the Metallicus ecosystem on a compliant blockchain, right? On a compliant platform, in a compliant wallet.
Facts. Everything
Right.
BSA compliant. Facts.
Right now, but nobody's talking about it. It's like they straight up fade it. So listen to what Stacey Warden has to say and just know in the back of your mind as she's speaking, all these things that she's talking about to some extent can be done already on a BSA compliant blockchain. Take a second to listen.
So here's my woo-woo futuristic prediction. I will be able to take my little sliver of an Aberdeen money market fund and I will earn yield on it every minute, every minute, every minute, every minute. And then I will go into Starbucks and I will pay $25 for a latte at Starbucks or whatever it is. And I will, as soon as I make that payment, then Starbucks will start earning the yield on that little slice of my Aberdeen money market fund. Because cash and assets, they're all assets. And so this idea that your money is not always every second working for you is, in crypto, we think that's outrageous, actually. And so the idea that you would always hold yield-bearing assets, that they would be liquid and you would be able to treat them like money and you would be able to pay for things and yield would be continuous. It's continuous finance. I think that will be, by the time your kids are.
So why do you think that is, Aqua, bro? I mean, what's your opinion on that? Why, like, is she sitting here saying it's my future projection as to how this is going to all unfold when in reality, this can be done right now? Why do they do that? Is it because they really don't know, or is it because they're under NDAs, or is it because they're just, I don't know. What's your take on it?
I'll be honest with you. I feel like it's purposely being done because when you look at all of the diagrams, when you come into crypto as well, that show you, for example, all of the ISO 222 projects that are compliant, and they like put it in this diagram and connect everything and like where everybody is at. XPR Metal blockchain is never put into those diagrams ever for whatever reason. And I just feel like this is being like, I know that if we can find this information and this information is so available for us to understand and learn, if we just put in the elbow grease and apply ourselves, I feel like other people in crypto have to know about this stuff, because if you guys rub shoulders with each other at all these different crypto events and all talking crypto, I'm pretty sure the crypto community is small, right? So like everybody kind of knows one another. So I feel like it's got to be purposely being hid under the, like it's being tucked. Nobody's talking about it because it's going to make them probably look bad too. And possibly NDAs and shit. Like, I don't know. There's a lot that's debatable. That's really, who knows? That's just my opinion, right? But like, when you don't see it anywhere, you kind of start asking yourself, at least I have been like, yo, like, are they purposely hiding this from the community? Like, they don't want nobody to know about these two. And then the moment somebody even speaks about both of those two blockchains and they do it in a,
bro.
you do it in a respectful way, and you do it nicely, and you're just, you know, hey, let me just educate you on what we know. Like you said, you get attacked. You literally get shit. I got attacked when I just made a video trying to educate the XRP community on, like, hey, you can lend out your XRP. Some guy that calls himself the king of XRP decided to attack me because of that. Like, this shit is mind blowing to me, bro.
Yeah, I think it's got a big thing to do with tribalism. And on top of that, people just, you know, how they talk to people on the internet because there's a computer screen protecting them, you know, that whole spiel. Most people wouldn't speak the way that they speak to people on the internet in person, but that's besides the point. I can agree with you 110% that I think that a lot of people in the whole ISO 222 club crypto niche, you know, all these assets I have displayed on the screen, it's like, I don't get it. Why, like Aqua said, is XPR network and Metal blockchain never incorporated in this list? If you guys are all so focused on these compliant ISO 222 standards, why is nobody like, why is it ignored? Is it really because it's a psyop in a sense of this is the distraction and the others aren't? No, I think it honestly just has to do with tribalism, biased and opinionated, ignorant people that aren't willing to expand their way of thinking, understand. Bottom line is there isn't going to be one blockchain or crypto asset to rule them all. And people don't want to put their ego aside and be like, maybe the crypto assets that I have in my portfolio aren't the chosen ones. Nobody really knows what the chosen ones are. We hope that the ones that we have in our portfolio are the chosen ones. Shit, I hope everybody listening has the chosen ones in their portfolio. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing in this space to evolve your way of thinking and move with the changing tides. This space moves so fast. This space moves so freaking fast that if you're not willing to keep up with the ever evolving dynamics of the space, you might as well just get out now, because what matters today might not matter tomorrow. And what matters tomorrow might not matter 6 months from now. Right. And if you're not willing to adapt, it's just like how we do in trading. Becoming a successful trader in my career, I had to not be biased, not opinionated, and I had to be adept. If the market dynamics for that day were intraday risk off and I'm sitting there trying to take buy positions, then what's going to happen to my portfolio? I'm going to get fucking slaughtered if I'm not willing to adjust my bias from a bullish bias to a bearish bias because of the fundamentals that given day. It's the same thing with crypto. You can't just marry something that happened in 2022 when now it's 2025 and new things have come about. Back to what I was saying is, and I see that we got Paul Gray on the live. This is so awesome that we got people from the Metallicus team actually tapping into these podcasts, because honest to God, we're doing it to really show people that they shouldn't be ignoring what the Metallicus ecosystem is putting out, and it's being slept on 110%. But back to this post where they were talking about how right now there's only 8 ISO 222 compliant assets. But again, nobody talks about this post from Marshall Hayner, which I think is just going to go down in history. ISO 222 is an international standard for payments and settlements between banks, institutions, and blockchains. This is a core component of the technology that will emerge TradFi with DeFi. Metal blockchain and XPR network are the only 2 blockchains in the world that have it live. Like, he just did a mic drop here for this
mic
one.
Drop. Bloop. Live. He should have capitalized that. LIVE live. It's live right now.
And this leads me to this post where I said the amount of FOMO that is about to happen when people realize how powerful the Metallicus ecosystem is. It's nuts. You know, you go look, if you know chart work and you're not an ignorant fool that can understand how to measure price action, it's not hard to see that the entire Metallicus ecosystem over the past, let's say, year has outperformed XRP. And I'm not here as an individual trying to shill the Metallicus ecosystem by any means, but so many people think that it's a scam when in reality it's the farthest thing from it. And we'll get into that in today's video breakdown. But you need to stop listening again back to what we did, what we said at the beginning of this podcast. Is so many people are taking advice and investment advice and theses and all these ideologies in crypto from people that actually have never even made money in crypto. Here on this call, you have 2 millionaires on this podcast right now speaking to you guys. I'm not here. I could care less if you guys buy any of these assets that we talk about today. Honest to God, it's not going to do me one thing if you buy it or not. Could care less. I'm here to show you guys the facts, and the facts are is that people are misinforming you, and it's either because they're paid shills, paid actors, They're just stupid and ignorant, or they just are tribal and they just can't adapt to the ever evolving, changing space. And you should not be one of those people if you like making money, if you like, you know, protecting, preserving your wealth, if you like operating on compliant, BSA compliant blockchains, if you like operating in a regulatory, environment, a team that's building out regulatory compliant infrastructure, and Metallicus brings that. So why would you fade it, right? You go look at metal, it's outperforming XRP. You go look at loan, it outperformed XRP. You go look at XPR, it's outperforming XRP right now. These are not, I'm not making this up. If you go take from a measuring tool on TradingView, you take from November's 2024's lows when the market started pumping, and you take it to where price action is at today in terms of percentages, all of those assets that I just mentioned have outperformed XRP in terms of percentages. But yet again, you got the ISO 222 community that constantly does not give credit to XPR network and metal for anything. It's weird. Straight up weird to me.
It's super weird to me too. Like, and that's why I feel like it's being purpose. It's either I don't understand how native that mindset runs and like how deep it runs, or these guys are like, I don't know, bro. But and maybe I'm just thinking about it right now. Maybe it's just I just don't understand that type of mindset. It's got to be the mindset, because we're doing this out of the kindness of our heart too. Like, technically, we do it for our community inside CYPRX Well 28. We come out here, we give the gems and stuff, but like, our community fucks with us inside. You know what I mean? So when we put out something, they know. You know what I mean? So like, when we put it out to the XRP army, it's up to you. It's, you can hate us for saying certain things. I'm not coming up here and saying this stuff because I dislike XRP or anything. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? I'm just
hold a lot of XRP.
And I hold a lot of XRP, and I hold the Fuzzy Bear. I hold the Fuzzy Bear NFTs, which and it's all on the XRPL. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I love that Paul Gray's in the comments. Look at blockchain metrics. XPR network isn't far behind XRPL in terms of daily active users, daily transactions, etc. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Paul Gray, it's crazy that even people in the XRP community don't even know what one of the lead engineers of the XRPL have said. In a recent statement that myself and Aqua aired to the general public, David Schwartz was asked the question, if you could go back and do one thing different on the XRPL, what would you do? And he replied back by saying that he would build the XRPL on Rust. Well, go ahead, Aqua, take it away. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, Marshall's already solved the smart contract issue that Ethereum has, like all those different hacks that happen as far as like through the smart contracts. That's all been solved with like subnets on the Metal blockchain. So when David gets on stage and he's talking about, we still us in crypto, we still haven't solved these issues with the smart contracts, he's only really speaking from his opinion and his viewpoint, and he might be hiding what else he knows, because when Marshall speaks about this stuff, he's speaking about it, how we've already solved these problems and we don't have to worry about those issues. And think about it. He also said this as well. He said, because, we're a regulated company, Ripple, we can't even use the XRPL because there's no KYC or anything. There's no, what they call it? Something permissioned, right? I forget the name right now when I was speaking with Grok earlier about this whole thing, but, or permission something, right? So that's already solved inside the Metallicus ecosystem. And what really sets with me, I'm just like, yo, okay, so David, if you guys can't even use the XRPL, but you guys speak of these DeFi institutional relationships with institutions who are also regulated, well, if you can't use the XRPL, that means they can't use it just yet either, right? So like, yeah, you know what I mean? Until there's some compliance, and that's what it's so loud on the wall why Metallicus has BSA compliance. They were concentrating on the back end, AML, KYC, everything that's aligned with becoming BSA compliant. That's what they were doing when nobody was talking about it. Fast forward, they've already solved all these issues that people in crypto talk about, or these, developers and head honchos at these companies, talk about. but they're not mentioning that Marshall's already solved all of these issues. And it's done through the subnets. Like the subnet thing is a very powerful breakdown. I would encourage, without me having to go down the rabbit hole of like how the subnets work, you should really go look at the Metal blockchain and how it's all set up. But it's basically a fork of AVAX, and they have these subnets, and the subnets are basically how these potential, credit unions and institutions could communicate, is through the subnets. And that's how they could reverse certain things. Because think about it, if the institutions were to come in and credit unions were to come in and start using these blockchains, they can't have something that's irreversible, right? They can't have somebody that they don't know who's on the chain. So all of that stuff is already completed in this ecosystem. So yeah, I know I went off on a tangent, but there's a lot to like cover on why I'm saying certain things. So I said a whole lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, bro, it's all stuff that people need to hear because, yeah, like an individual said in the comments just now, there isn't going to be one blockchain to rule them all. And people are truly sleeping on the Metallicus ecosystem due to ignorant influencers that have a lot of followers. And people think that that following count matters. But in reality, remember I said at the beginning of this call, we live in an era of information, yet we also live in an era of massive ignorance where people are just straight up, they lack the ability to look outside of people's opinions and go and open up a document or watch a panel discussion themselves, which leads me to this panel discussion. I want you guys to listen to some snippets of this. It's so interesting. It's like you got people on this space that could never go sit in a room with a congressman or woman. And then you got people who can, that have the credentials to go sit on multiple panel discussions with multiple different people from Congress. But people that don't have the credentials to go sit in with people from Congress won't listen to the people that do. It's mad weird to me.
Yo, Cypress too, real quick before we press play though, check what Paul was saying too, right? Because now we have to kind of scroll down to see what he just said. Paul Gray, he had said, what's really interesting is that the other banks and credit unions will be able to deploy their own versions of XPR network. So that's the one part I didn't mention. XPR network is the primary subnet built into the Metal blockchain, right? And it says here, as subnets, which will be compliant and private, they will then all come together and be able to do their DeFi on the XPR network A chain. So that's where all the liquidity will
XPR
reside.
is a meme coin, right? XPR is a meme coin, I thought, right?
Whoever made that story up, please unlearn that ASAP, because that is so far from the fucking truth. It's not even funny.
Unfollow them and put them in the clown folder that you're saving in your bookmarks on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, because my clown folder on Twitter is getting bigger and bigger by the day.
By the day.
So let's listen to this gentleman. For those of y'all who don't know, Marshall Hayner, right? CEO of Metallicus. Excuse me. Listen to what he says here in a couple of these video clips. For the record, he's sitting in with a individual representative from Congress, and he's also, who is the organization that Metallicus partner with, who they're sitting in on this call with? The gentleman, the other guy?
Bonify,
right? And listen to just a couple of video clips. It's 4 primary clips, but we're going to pick apart what they say and really open people's minds to what it is that they're saying. You can't be you can't like be categorized in this whole, oh, it's a scam, when you're saying things like this, sitting in on panel discussions with people that have these types of credentials, doing these things in this space. It just doesn't make sense. So really start to pick apart who it is that you listen to on the internet and the things that you should instead be watching. Because if we go down and we look at this, like this video is from 4 months ago and has less than 1,000 views, which just goes to show the lack of education in the space. This video should be the one that's trending. This video should be one of those ones that has 100,000 views. But instead, if you go look at those XRP to $1,000 in January 2026 price predictions, and y'all know the influencers who have said that, I guarantee you, I promise you guys, with every bit of money that I have in my portfolio, that is not happening. Because if it does, I will buy Twitter and I will ban that shit from Twitter.
Facts, bro.
That's how much money I'll have if XRP goes to $1,000. So I hope they're right, but I can guarantee that they're not going to be. And those people are the people whose content is freaking taking up all the algorithm, because it's trending. Because why? It's tapping into your dopamine. It's unrealistic, hypium bullshit that should be ignored at all costs. And instead, you should block that feed out and start to tap into this stuff. So this first clip is going to be of Marshall Hayner. Listen to what he says about how metal is positioned and how they built out the system for RegTech to come into blockchain. Take a second here and listen to what Marshall has to say.
On Metallicus before we get into the PPP here, how is it positioning itself to secure and create efficient blockchain adoption?
Yeah, a little bit about Metallicus. We were formed in 2016 with the vision of bridging traditional financial services to blockchain. And when I got involved in crypto about 15 years ago, this wasn't really a popular topic. Flash forward to today, 2024. Just this past week, John Ainsworth and I and Bonify have merged our companies, Metallicus. We're very excited about it. We met a while back as we were doing our business development, trying to bring in credit unions, banks, financial services into blockchain. One of the big problems that we saw was a lack of controls around anti-money laundering, digital identity. If cryptocurrency is becoming money, and I believe it already was, how can we regulate it as money, and how can the blockchain itself conform to traditional anti-money laundering laws and also give us the tools to treat it like traditional money? So for example, if you go to the ATM and you withdraw $20, that's a bearer bond essentially in your pocket. It is your ownership. And blockchain has a similar technology, but at the same time, there are serial numbers on that bill, right? And if I transfer money around the world, the banks that are involved in those transfers have to be compliant with the local laws and regs. And also it's their job to stop crime, to stop these problems. And so these are some of the problems that we saw with blockchain that were preventing institutions and banks from entering. If cryptocurrency is money, how can we treat it like money on the blockchain? And so really that was the vision of myself and my team in Metallicus. And with this merger together with John Ainsworth from Bonify, we brought together really a comprehensive product suite and platform that allows you to take those traditional, what I call RegTech or regulation technology tools, and bring them on the chain. And I think that's why we've had so much success. Before the merger, I think we had about.
Did y'all hear what he just said? We built a product suite that allows the RegTech environment to come and migrate over to the blockchain. Like, how can you categorize what this man just said into some meme niche category?
Yeah.
What? I truly don't get it. It's weird to me, man.
It is. And yeah, bro. I mean, when you look at crypto too as a whole, this is the only Metal blockchain is the only project that can, in a compliant fashion, give the institutions, the credit unions, and whoever else the option to have their own blockchain and have their own stable coin. That is possible through Metal blockchain, period. And, David Schwartz is one of my favorite people too. I'll say that, right? And I pay attention to all his tweets. And one of his tweets, he even admits, he says, we're seeing a lot of players that want their own blockchain and want their own stable coin. He just said this August 13th. His words, not mine. So with him saying that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank you, David, for that excellent tip from what you know and what you're hearing based on the people you're rubbing shoulders with, because the only project that I know that's even that can even make that possible is the Metal blockchain. So rest my case.
For those of you who don't know, who Bonify is, I want you guys to listen to this individual representative. Excuse me that I don't know his credentials off the top of my head, what position he holds at the company. Maybe he might be the CEO or the co-founder or whatever, but he definitely holds some high-end position. But keeping in mind that Metallicus just acquired this company, right? So you can't be some scam organization and acquire this type of organization that's been doing these things with countries and jurisdictions. Listen to what this gentleman says about how they've worked with different countries and jurisdictions and what they've done in the past, just so that way you guys have a gist of, how serious this is on the back end infrastructure. So take this into account when you're listening to people with zero credentials on the internet, on Twitter and YouTube, telling you guys that the Metallicus ecosystem is a scam, when in reality, they're just not doing the research. They're not paying attention to the right videos, the right information, and they're just bringing opinionated, biased information to this space, which is honestly a cancer in the space and should be weeded out. And the only way that it's going to get weeded out is if you guys do your due diligence and block the people that are spreading that misinformation. It's very simplistic, and it's going to take us as a crypto community as a whole. Doesn't matter if you're an XRP maxi, Bitcoin maxi, Ethereum maxi, XPR maxi. What's going to take for us to get that shit out of the crypto ecosystem is that block button, is that ignore button, is that, you have those little tiny 3 buttons on Twitter that says not interested in this content button. It's that button. Press that button. It'll benefit you so much more and your portfolio, I guarantee, because it'll block out the noise for you. So take a second and just listen to who this gentleman is, just so that way you guys can see into the credentials of Bonify and how important this merger is with Metallicus in them.
You will.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is the infrastructure that is going to power the digital economy as it evolves. John, I want to learn more about Bonify, the identity and fraud solutions through blockchain, because also at the end of the day, this intersects with cybersecurity as well when you think about identity and fraud. And it's well known that one of the first steps in terms of mitigating cyber threats starts at identity.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. And just a little bit of background. We actually started, ironically, in 2016 as well as a research to action. And our actual legal name is CU, as in Credit Union Ledger. And so we really started off with research to find, is there a viable use case of blockchain that we could actually use for credit unions? And as you know, credit unions are member-owned, non-for-profit, cause for good. Inclusion is always a big effort of ours. So we went through a number of evaluations, and identity and fraud is actually where we landed. And we actually had the privilege of being involved with the European Coalition of Credit Unions, and specifically Estonia. And if you're familiar with Estonia, the entire country's on blockchain. And so we had a privilege of seeing, what happens when you have a fully digital economy with open banking and some of the things that are finally coming to the States. And it was very clear to us, if you don't get identity right, everything else falls apart. So regardless of all the exotic use cases and things that are coming to market now, if you didn't have that building block right and you could securely identify both ends of the equation, then someone was going to be at a loss. And so that's really why we started identity and fraud. And clearly you've seen even most recently some of the things going on with Zelle in market. Yeah. And we know what happens when our customers and members lose financial access. And so that's really kind of where we started and kind of the plant, if you would.
This man said that they did an entire, test pretty much, where they went through different trials to see what blockchain would be viable for credit unions. Okay. And they partnered with Metallicus. Metallicus just acquired them.
Yeah. And they're super focused on fraud side, the identity side, and he's hit it spot on. If you don't master that side, it's all going to fall apart. And that's really, in a nutshell, most of crypto right now, if you think about it, because there's no permission domains, there's no KYC to get on some of these protocols and get some of these wallets. Like, it's just a free for all, right? And yeah, like
here's U.S. Congressman Zach Nunn. Okay. Listen to him, because you don't just okay. What am I trying to say? After you hear what he says, okay, a congressman or woman aren't just going to come online on a public space and say these things out loud because they know that it would ruin their reputation. He pretty much verbally confirms that Marshall Hayner has been doing the right thing. Right. And so you, again, take into consideration what we're trying to show you, that you have this crowd of people, particularly in the XRP community, because for some weird reason, and keep in mind, for anybody listening, if you go back in history, CYPRX has been at the forefront of accurate updates on XRP. I've been in XRP since 2016. I'm probably one of the only influencers that you can never, ever find an above $5 price prediction on XRP in any of my content over the past 6-7 years. Ever. You could go back in my historical data log on YouTube and never find one high price prediction. I've never lied to the XRP army. So I'm in the XRP community, whatever you want to call that, right? As one of the influencers that people don't like, because I've never shilled XRP price. So I'm not biased against XRP. But for some odd reason, it's the XRP community that thinks that XPR is trying to replace it, when in reality, when you do research on what the XPR network is, it's not even, it's completely separate. It's completely different. It's
Yeah.
not anything on the same level,
It's not.
like whatsoever. I think it honestly has to do with the ticker symbol, where people think that because the ticker symbol seems similar, right? XRP, XPR, they're like, oh my gosh, XPR is trying to replace XRP, blah, blah, blah. That's not
Yeah.
the ticker symbol is not what dictates that, y'all. A ticker symbol, again, is the symbol that you utilize for the trading symbol. It's like
Yeah, facts. And there's like there's come on now. Like
yeah, bro. It's
that is
wild to
such
me.
a crazy assumption to me, like for reals. But
And
yeah,
it's one that exists, bro. It's one that exists. I'll show an example here in just a second from one of the primary XRP enthusiasts out there that thinks that for some reason XPR is a scam, when in reality, you don't get things said like this about you from a congressman's perspective if you're doing something wrong in this space. Take a second here and listen to what this guy says about Marshall Hayner.
The need for collaboration certainly is paramount, whether it's government agencies, financial institutions, blockchain providers like Metallicus and Bonify. What's your perception and the future of what you think PPPs will look like and how they can enable these types of projects?
Yeah, Jill, it's critically essential. We learned a lot of these lessons in the cybersecurity space here, particularly with financial institutions like our credit unions, that there was already good practices being played out and tested and evaluated, whether it's a foreign partner, like in this case, Estonia, and how it protected itself, or whether it's our financial sectors from New York, my home district here in Des Moines. Jill, I'll also highlight, I've only been in Congress 2 years, and in the first 2 weeks on the job, we had the collapse of, a certain crypto bank that had a lot of hardship. And as a result, it rippled throughout the economy. While federal regulators and federal elected officials, I remember being on a Zoom call with Chuck Schumer as he's figuring out how to use Zoom. We had everybody on to address how are we going to get after really complex problems. And some of the best navigators in the field here were the private sector who had worked with a very new and emerging technology to a lot of not just elected officials, but the public sector side that had not dealt with it. What I'll also offer here is that it's also incumbent on the public sector to be able to hear what private partners are telling us and provide some real guidance on this. Because what we don't want to do is more Sam Bankman-Fried to flee to the Bahamas and operate off the grid and make it more challenging for folks like Marshall and John, who are doing things the right way and holding the same gold standard that a financial institution would do, just so they can operate in the United States. I would offer even worse is that if there's no guidance coming from the public sector side.
So I'll just pause it right there. That was verbal confirmation from a congressman that Marshall Hayner is doing the right thing in this space. This is, again, an aired video on the NASDAQ, right? And so think about this for just 1 second. For the congressman to come out and say that, what does he have to know behind closed doors about the Metallicus ecosystem or Marshall Hayner himself to have enough confidence to come out and make a public statement like that, right?
They must have told him about the results that they had from testing it out. They showed him most likely firsthand. And so he got to see, damn, this is just like Marshall says, this is even better than traditional banking. It's even better how they set it up.
Like what he said to me came from some type of experience he had off camera, whether that was a private conversation with Marshall or some type of involvement with Metallicus behind the scenes in Congress and the US government, which we've seen. Marshall Hayner is deep in the weeds with Congress and the US government. If you guys have not paid attention, I mean, he is. I'm not making that stuff up. You guys can go look. It's not just one congressman that he's been on air with. It's multiple. Here's another video breakdown from CoinDesk where yet again, Marshall Hayner is sitting right next to a congressman talking about the future of blockchain technology. So, take that again for what, you see it as. I see it as verbal confirmation to some degree that what Marshall Hayner is building out in this space is what's compliant, is the infrastructure. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Aqua?
Just when you're done with that, I'm sending you something. Check your DMs right now. This is what Arena just posted right now. Check your DMs right now. Yo, this is
Go ahead. Am I pulling it up on screen? You want me to
Yeah,
pull it
pull
up?
it up on screen, bro. Pull it up on screen, baby. Oh my God, let's show the people. Arena
12%
Birkin.
of metal pay customers come from credit unions. Yeah.
Do you know how massive that is when you let that settle in and let that marinate for a second? Because metal pay is basically an onboard into crypto, right? So if 12% of metal pay customers are coming from the credit union relationships that these guys have right now, could you imagine when it's like full steam ahead and now that credit union has their own blockchain, their own dApps, all within the metal blockchain, right? And now they're offering X, Y, and Z to all of their customers. Hey, you can, hold your, your digital assets now with your favorite credit union and your favorite credit union's digital wallet, which will end up being the WebAuth wallet, but just in the name of that credit union because it's all open source.
Like I said in this post, bro, the amount of FOMO that is going to happen when people realize how powerful the Metallicus ecosystem is. This post is going to age so well, bro. It's going to age so well because so many people choose their ignorance over knowledge and information, over research, because of some influencer on the internet that has 1,000+ followers. It's weird to me, man. Here's this last video clip that I want you guys to listen to, where they talk about how we haven't had the ability to have banks have direct integration into public blockchains until now. And that's what Metallicus unlocked, right? So just take a second here and listen to this video clip real fast. This is, again, Marshall Hayner.
Some of the key challenges when you went through the integration with Bonify and bringing on those 80 credit unions, what are some of the more tangible challenges you can tell us about?
Yeah, so I would say, blockchain and banking have kind of been in two different camps for a while, where you have your metal pay or you have your Coinbase or your Kraken, and you move your funds to that intermediary, and then you can go to the blockchain. We haven't really until what Metallicus and Bonify are working on together have seen the ability for credit unions or banks to have this direct integration to the blockchain. And in order to get there, we need to have guardrails. We need to have
He said direct integration.
But what's crazier to me is that up until now, we haven't had that capability until we had this integration with Bonify and Metallicus. That's that's massive. That's mind blowing to me. So, yeah. And this video was only from 4 months ago, so relatively recent.
Yeah.
Which honestly just goes hand in hand with how we started off today's call. Now that we have 2,000 people on, where Marshall just said, we will reverse the course of history where young people look back not on the debt that they accrued, but the money that they saved, earned, and invested. We will teach them to fish, and they will teach their children to fish. Money is a concept, and that concept is metal.
Yeah, bro. I love, man. Yeah, all his posts. So
he's a very intellectually person. Paul Gray, if you're still listening to this, we'd love to have you and Marshall on a call, whether it be separate or together. And we could even do something where we send you guys questions in advance, so that way you guys can approve them, because we know you guys are probably under strict NDAs as to what you guys can and cannot talk about publicly, which we totally understand. But we would love to have you guys on this podcast. If you're still listening, Paul, reach out to myself or Aqua in the DMs on Twitter, and we can set something up on a scheduled date that suits your best interest and your schedule. We can adjust to that. But thank you for tapping in with us on this call, Paul. But I want to read this, Aqua, because we're going on almost an hour now, and I want to get through a little bit of this Q2 report that Metallicus put out on August 9th, because it's got some really good, juicy information. And, for you guys listening in that are our followers, these are the types of documents that when you go and you read some opinionated content on the internet about a network or a chain or a project that you're not too sure about and you've never really done research on, these are the types of reports that you guys can go out and read yourselves, so that way you can formulate your own opinion instead of, paying attention to uneducated people on the internet that don't know what the heck they're talking about. So I want to read through some of the highlights of this. You guys can come over here, Google it, Metallicus Q2 report. It pops up right there at the top. You can download it. But I'm going to pick apart some of the highlights here that I, particularly focused on myself. Sorry if you guys can't see this font. It's a tad bit small probably on your end, but I want to read thoroughly through some of this. So check this out. First off, this is from Marshall Hayner himself. Just a couple of highlights. It says, with over 20 years of combined building in crypto, it's a long time in crypto, Glenn and I are confident that Metallicus has engineered the most advanced and regulatory compliant blockchain banking stack in the industry, ready to integrate with financial institutions looking to enhance their operations today. Keep in mind that Metallicus is one of the only blockchains on the updated FedNow service providers list from May 2025. Ripple's not on it. Stellar's not on it. XTC's not, like, nope, nobody else is on it except Metallicus and Bank Social. Just saying. Let that sink in.
Facts. These are facts.
So this honestly, this report is going to really blow your mind of what it says about FedNow. So just, we'll get to that in just a second. But it says here, from stablecoins and private subnets to crypto as a service, on-chain identity, self-custody wallets, and compliant DeFi, the Metallicus stack was designed for financial institutions, credit unions, and community banks to deploy custom solutions tailored to their specification and built to best serve their members. And we now know from the CFO of Metallicus that 12% of credit unions, or 12% of users of MetalPay, are credit unions. That's huge.
Right. That's major.
Where others have built fragmented and isolated solutions, Metallicus has developed a purpose-built vertical framework for banking, engineered from the ground up and shaped by the very institutions who are now on-chain and piloting use cases with other members of TDBN. Then here it says, we are adding more native networks to WebAuth, bringing new markets to the MetalX lending platform, which I really like because we have people in the comments that are like, I never want to sell out of my digital assets. I'm one of those people. Why would I want to sell my XRP, considering the substantial amount of XRP that I have, for fiat currency after I've been accumulating XRP using fiat currency for all these years? When XRP really ever does go to $100, why would I sell it for fiat to get stuck back in the traditional system when I could go over to MetalX, lend out my XRP, borrow stablecoins against it, and if I want to go buy a house, I can go buy a house after converting my stablecoins that I borrowed against with my lent out XRP to go buy that property or to go buy that Ferrari, and then just pay that loan back while my XRP is earning some yield to then get my XRP back after that loan's paid back and then have my original XRP position.
Facts.
Come on now, y'all. There's levels to this game. So, and improving customer experiences by rolling out UI, UX enhancements across the entire suite. With the impending launch of A-Chain, which you talked about, Aqua, a virtual machine precisely designed for banking, the best crypto banking experience is still to come. And then if we come down here, unless you wanted to talk on that.
No, I'll just say shout out to Marshall Hayner. He just reposted our podcast right now, by the way, bro.
Yeah, I love this. I'm telling you, we're gonna bring it into fruition to get Marshall and Paul on the podcast at some point in time in the future. I'm putting that energy out into the universe.
Yeah, me too. I'm putting it out there.
All right. So to continue, it says our first credit union stablecoin pilot is now live in the Metallicus sandbox environment. This pilot offers a secure, isolated setting for institutions to test stablecoin issuance and transaction workflows using a one-to-one USD-backed model, evaluating settlement speed, cost efficiency, and ledger transparency without risk to production systems. 12 credit unions are now actively participating in the pilot, each deploying a custom branded stablecoin. So hold on, let's back up, because for all those people that are like, oh, there's nobody using Metallicus.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't even, it's so wild. So, okay. 12 credit unions are now actively participating in the pilot, each deploying a custom branded stablecoin and validating use cases like member to member transfers, internal settlement, and core system interoperability. I repeat, I like that last part. Core system interoperability. That is physical proof that banks and institutions are integrating digital assets, blockchain, and crypto into their core banking system, which I have been laughed at on Twitter for saying outright publicly and proving that in detail. This is just, again, more physical proof, and it's happening on Metal. Our partnership, yeah, bro. Our partnerships with Go West Credit Union Association, representing over 300 credit unions across 6 states, provide structured access to blockchain-powered solutions and accelerates learning through shared experimentation. Similarly, our collaboration With Daland, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, CUSO enables credit unions and community banks to connect their core systems, again, that core systems mentioned, with emerging digital infrastructure, including stablecoins, Bitcoin, and other digital assets. I really like that. You know what's weird? Hold on, I'll pause right there. You know what's weird is that the Metallicus ecosystem is so expansionary. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's so expansive to other ecosystems. Like they want to help expand other ecosystems, but everybody's so biased against them. They're always trying to provide new services, new lending and borrowing for different digital assets and things of that nature. But here they are getting attacked all the dang time.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to see eventually, because the amount of credit unions that are tapped into this banking innovation program, and just based on my experience with my WebAuth wallet, participating on MetalX, participating on the loan protocol, it's extremely smooth compared to, we've been through how many different protocols? We could probably both say, without exaggerating, we've probably connected to over 100 different protocols with, whether it's a Tangent wallet, a Trust wallet, whatever wallet it may have been. We've been around the ringer in DeFi. We know what other ecosystems consist of, right? And, the truth is that the WebAuth wallet, the MetalX ecosystem, is not only the smoothest, but it's the easiest to understand. There's not some weird APRs that they did with the numbers where you got to like break down the math and divide it by 365, because you know what I mean? There's like everything is so transparent, and it's so easy to understand that my 65-year-old dad knows how to swap different assets within the WebAuth wallet. Once I showed him, now he knows how to do it. Right. So like he knows how to set up the staking right within his WebAuth wallet. So what I'm trying to ultimately say is that these credit unions that are testing this out, I would have to say that a majority of them are probably going to end up signing up. If not one of them signed up, that would be beyond mind-blowing, surprising to me. But I don't see that happening.
Correct me if I'm saying this, correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly, but long story short, they created a drag and drop model, like a plug-in model, where once institutions are comfortable, once they want to offer these solutions to their client, they can literally just, it's open source technology. They can literally just give it.
Exactly. It's open. So the Metal blockchain will give them the opportunity to have their own blockchain and have their own stable coin, right? And then they can have their own digital wallet, because the WebAuth wallet is open source. And then just like what Paul was saying, they're going to build on the XPR network, these credit unions, these institutions that come in and end up having their own, subnet. And they're going to build on XPR, but in the name of their credit union. You know what I mean? How we go there now and it's decorated as MetalX. Well, when a credit union adopts this, it's going to be XYZ credit union, right? So, and that's why it's just, and all the compliance, everything is built into it. So like, how do these guys get compliant? You call Marshall in the gang. Like that's how you're going to have your own stable coin. That's how you can have your own blockchain. That's how you're going to become BSA compliant. There's nobody else you can call right now in the game that's going to give you that capability.
Which honestly, to me, it seems like they're already calling your boy Marshall. They're already picking up that phone. I'm just saying. Marshall's sitting next to all these Congress people taking, you just can't go out and do that. I'm sorry, you just can't. And people that don't have credentials are mocking, like the fact that, what was that, the podcast you sent me that Marshall Hayner was on, dude? It broke my heart that people had the opportunity to listen to such an intellectually inclined individual on this space, or in this space, and instead of picking his brain, which would be an honor, they decided to attack him publicly. What kind of dumb person do you have to be to fumble an opportunity like that?
Low IQ individuals, bro, that have no idea who they're speaking to. Zero clue.
That, you know what that comes back to, bro? That post that we started out this podcast with is that there's so many people in this space that are taking financial advice from people who are not millionaires, who have never accomplished any type of financial gains in this space, and they're just clickbait warriors, bro.
Facts.
Yeah, here you got two dreadhead dudes covered up in tattoos that have multiple 7-figure portfolios, have managed multiple 6-figure businesses, putting you guys on game. Yeah, we're always the one, because we're not wearing a suit and tie, looking all fresh and smiling at you guys nice like these other influencers are. We're the ones that get ignored.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. you know, but we're not the ones here lying to y'all about $1,000 price protection.
Man, this shit. I swear to God, if I said tomorrow every day is my plan is to now tell the whole world that XRP is going to $1,000,
Bro, you
I'd
would
probably
blow
have
up.
100,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of the year.
Your
Real talk.
algorithm would supersede mine, my dude. You kidding?
I ain't never
Sure.
doing that shit though, bro. Never.
Send Aqua to 50,000 subscribers right now. Start shilling, bro. Start shilling. Anyways, back to this post, back to the series. I know that we got off track. I want to go back to this document, which again, you guys can go Google yourselves, go check it out. Highly suggest you take it upon yourselves to read. Very thorough document. Just Google the Metallica's Q2 report. It's the first 2 links that pop up. But this is what really blew my mind here. And again, you have this niche category of this ISO 222 compliant asset list. And people say that there's only 8 compliant digital assets that fall in line with that ISO 222 compliance. Nobody talks about how ISO 222 is live right now on 2 blockchains, Metallicus, Metal, and XPR Network.
XPR Network. Yep.
And then here in the document, this is what I really liked. Mind blowing that nobody said this or, you know, pinpointed this little tiny piece. So it says here, WebAuth wallet integration. We are integrating full metal blockchain wallet functionality into WebAuth. You can see my screen. This update will consolidate staking, governance, and transaction tools into a unified interface, streamlining workflows and enhancing usability for both institutions and individual users. I like that because it reiterates this ideology that we've been trying to portray in the Wealth 28 Club, which is we are operating right now on this level playing field where for the first time ever, these financial primitives that have primarily been restricted to financial institutions are becoming readily available to your everyday average internet user with a mobile device and an internet connection, which is mind-blowing. People still can't comprehend that you can go earn yield right now on tokenized stocks. You can go freaking buy shares of real estate in multi-million-dollar real estate properties and start generating yield straight from your mobile device while you're sitting at your 9-to-5 job, hating your freaking life and wanting to get out of the system. You can earn real estate alongside Bill Gates right now.
Yeah,
right
fact.
You know, fractionalized ownership, real world assets, all of that stuff. What is that all going to take? Knowledge on how to utilize a web wallet, a digital wallet. It's not just you're not going to do this on paper like the traditional system. It's going to take a wallet. WebAuth wallet, one of those wallets you should be learning about. Anyways, moving on. Then it says FedNow production environment. Much of our FedNow production environment has been built under strict security and resiliency standards. Final configuration and validation are underway to ensure readiness for integration with the instant payment network. What?
Yeah, bro. That's when A chain goes live. Apparently, like that's what we're like the TDBN community are always talking about when A chain goes live, and basically, yeah, like that's and like you said it, bro. Like the only ones that are on Fed now is
BSL
Metallicus and Bank Social, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
The updated May 2025 FedNow service providers list, which
bro.
anybody can go and validate. I'm not going to pull that up right now, but actually I always got timestamps. I might have it pulled up, honest to God. Let me see. I got timestamps for everything. Here it is right here. 2025. Here's the updated as of May 19th, 2025, Bank Social, Metallicus on the FedNow service certified service providers list. There's no Ripple. I'm not against Ripple and XRP, and not by any means. I just need people to know that. It's like I'm not trying to be biased. That's not what this is about. But it's weird. Again, what we're trying to debunk here is why there's so much tribalism against XPR or Metal, when in reality it should be the complete opposite.
Yeah, it should be the complete opposite. People should be like, "Dang, you guys found a diamond in the rut!" Like, what? This is like finding a needle in a haystack, bro. Think about it. Like. Out of everything in crypto, we found the one that was BSA compliant, and we're just trying to share that with the world.
We found the one that's sitting on the Temenos website with direct clickable links. Come on, people.
Dude, this is the other one. You know what? Let me share that other link though with you, bro. You got to share this on your side right now. I'm gonna DM it to you right now because this right here is so like blatant that this is what they're doing over at Temenos. Check your DMs out, bro. It just sent. Let's see. This breakdown is like, yo,
Let's see, Temenos, and I'm sharing the screen. Oh yeah, this white paper.
Yeah, bro.
Every financial institution needs a blockchain. This is exactly what you were talking about.
And look at what it says. Launch your own blockchain on Metal. What's that key word? Compliant, 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 secure, and always in full control. Bro, this is major, and it breaks down to these. So if you're an institution and you're like, damn, like we already like blockchain, we already like how it's going to do everything, and this is a project that can give me my own compliant blockchain and my own stable coin. And look, they already got private and public features. They got, super cost effective dApps because XPR network, feeless transactions, right? Like,
yo, this is what I love right here. Check this out. This goes hand in hand. This part right here. So this part right here where it says Proton is built to handle payments, decentralized finance, dApps, DAOs, payment messaging, banks, PSPs, payment service providers, fintechs. If y'all don't know these acronyms, come on, y'all get hip. Gotta get hip to these acronyms. Fintechs with higher resource efficiency, right? So right there in a nutshell, it tells you what Proton is. You got these people out here like Zach Rector. Again, I'm not here to attack Zach Rector. He's just one of those people in the space with a lot of followers in the XRP community that spreads misinformation for God knows what reason. Who knows if he benefits from the views, if the likes, or whatever it is that he benefits from, or if he's just doing it because maybe he's just ignorant to the fact. But this is a post where Zach said, I see Proton and its affiliated projects are getting hyped up again. Just do yourself a favor and ask Grok if any institutions are using Proton. The project would have 10x better success if it was just acknowledged as a meme coin and ran with that. But in reality, it's like Zach literally doesn't have any inner ability to come over here and just read that. That's not what Proton is by any means. It's not at all what Proton is. Yeah. It's literally built to handle payments, decentralized finance, like it tells you word for word right here. So anybody that follows that crap could, again, click that ignore button and that block button to disband that ignorant information in this space that is honestly a cancer in this space. And in my personal opinion, should be avoided at all costs, When instead, again, remember I keep saying this on this call, ladies and gentlemen, we are in an era of information where information processes and spreads faster, if not almost as fast as the speed of light. I know that that's unrealistic, but you get what I'm saying. Super fast, okay? Where if you want to find out something, all you got to do is open up your computer and Grok it or ChatGPT it. Or if you still use Google it, Perplexity AI it, Claude AI it, whatever it is you do, it's boom, just like that. But yet people still choose ignorance. It's weird. It's like they're stuck in this 2017, 2015 mindset when in reality we're operating in 2025, heading into 2020. We're heading into 2030, y'all. It is not a game anymore. If you haven't researched the 2030 agenda, the digital transformation, the integration of digital wallets, AI agents, blockchain technology to its core, and actually understand it, like what we've shown you in today's video breakdown, and you're still biased thinking that one digital asset is going to rule them all, that's not what we're at. We're not at that point anymore. We're beyond that.
Hey, and for the folks that think like we're about to go, we're still in that 4-year cycle. when we just showed you how institutions and credit unions can have their own blockchain and bring God knows how much liquidity to chain, right? Like there's going to be so much growth in these next coming years from now until the 2030 and beyond. Yeah, I feel like that whole 4-year cycle is been out the window. It's been out the window.
This goes hand in hand with what we teach in the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club. It's that the people that learn how to lend, learn how to borrow, learn how to liquidity provide, learn how to yield farm, learn how to vault, learn how to tokenize their real estate properties and then earn yield on those, learn how to liquid stake. I mean, there's so many different little tiny niche categories in DeFi that you could learn the risks involved, learn how to mitigate that risk, learn different strategies inside the DeFi ecosystem to grow and maintain your wealth in different terms of market cycles and pull downs and drawbacks and pumps. If you're not doing that due diligence right now, mark my words, this is a warning to everybody listening. The people that do will supersede you in their portfolio appreciation tenfold. tenfold. The people that learn how to do all those things that I just mentioned will 10x their portfolio in the next year, will 10x their portfolio in the next 2 years. They don't have to wait for these market cycles. You don't, it's like people don't understand. You don't have to wait for market cycles anymore to make money. You can make money now.
Yeah. Facts.
You have to, now it's not just something you can go out and do. It's not, you're going to lose money if you just think you're going to go out and win at these markets. No, you have to learn. You have to learn from people who have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in this space, like myself and Aqua and some other DeFi mentors that we have in a Wealth 28 club, who show you guys putting our hard-earned money on the line. Again, the trials and tribulations that we've gone through. You heard Aqua say that we've battle tested and tested over 100 different protocols. I can second that. I can't say that I've done over 100, but it's probably pretty dang close. I've connected my wallet to and gone through the user interface and tried things out, standing different transactions, seeing what works, what doesn't. But we recorded all that information, and it's all right here in the Wealth 28 Club, so that you don't have to go out and risk your digital assets. You can learn those things yourselves, so that way when you're ready, when the regulatory environment is there, when the infrastructure is there and you're comfortable with the risk environment to go out and do so, you know how to, because you have knowledge. That's what's going to become powerful. Not selling your crypto for fiat when everything in traditional finance is coming on chain. As a matter of fact, I showed a video breakdown the other day of an individual representative from Franklin Templeton. Her name's Sandy Koal. Go look up her credentials. She has current credentials and stems from organizations like the World Economic Forum, the CFTC, and the DTCC, which is the DAO for the United States financial system. Okay, if you guys don't know who the DTCC is, we're pretty much the DAO of the United States financial system. She has those types of credentials, and she specifically said that once people come into crypto, they're not really leaving crypto. If they are selling their crypto, they're staying in stable coins and they're generating yield on those stable coins. They're not going back to traditional finance, right? And so if you do plan on selling a portion of your digital assets, okay, so be it. Sell some of your digital assets, but you could sell those into stable coins for profit, put those stable coins into a lending and borrowing platform, borrow against them, keep your liquidity, expand your liquidity, earn yield on your liquidity, and multiply your wealth instead of just selling back in traditional finance into your bank account. Like, that's so dead.
And that's what I love about the TDBN community, because when you look at like the tokenomics, for example, on the loan protocol, well, 70% of the circulating supply is locked up from either 2 to 4 years being staked right now. So like when you come into the Metallicus ecosystem, you start looking around, you start educating yourself, and you're like, yo, my asset can start working for me today, right now, and I'm going to get paid by the moment. And that's the beautiful part about this ecosystem. You know what I mean? That these part of my bags, this part of my portfolio is literally printing me a stream of income coming my way. You know, I can do as I please. You know what I mean? So
I didn't want to do it because I didn't know how much time you had, but I want to do it because people need to know. But yo, this platform right here, Snipverse, built on the XPR network. Wow. Like, wow, this is honest to God what Twitter should be doing. And once I feel like this is, again, speculative in nature, and this is my personal opinion, I will go out right and say that this is not fact right now, but I personally believe that once content creators realize, especially content creators on Twitter, realize what Snipverse is offering in terms of what Aqua just said, constantly earning on your assets every single day and constantly earning on your posts every single day, and then being able to compound those rewards every single day, people, this platform is going to be one of those platforms, in my personal opinion. Again, I'll repeat that, my personal opinion, that blows up, right? So I said here in this post, this is a little meme I made. I thought it was pretty funny. Why aren't we earning daily rewards for every single post that we can compound and earn yield on? Oh, wait, on Snipverse, built on XPR network, we are, right? And so I'm not going to get into too much detail, but if you go over to the docs, I highly suggest, again, this is now where the fact-based information comes in. You should educate yourself so that way you can garnish and back what it is that I just gave you in the form of opinion, create your own opinions, therefore, after you read the documents on this platform. But check this out. On Snipverse, first off, user authentication is verified. How many of you guys suffer? I know I suffer being an influencer on X from bots. If you go look at my DMs right now, I have hundreds of messages from bots, right? If you go look at my comments, there's hundreds of scam messages from bots all the time. Well, Snipverse solves that problem. User authentication and verification. At the heart of Snipverse's authentication and verification system lies Proton's WebAuth wallet technology. This revolutionary authentication method eliminates the need for traditional usernames and passwords, significantly reducing the risk of hacking, impersonation, and ensuring a bot-free environment. How many times have you guys seen high-end influencers lose their X account because of some hack? Or how many of you guys have seen crypto projects in this space tweet something out outrageously crazy because their account got hacked? Well, Snipverse and WebAuth Wallet solved this problem, right? Then on top of that, just this other little tiny highlight, it says rewards for contributions. Snipverse.com rewards users for their contributions to the crypto community. By utilizing Snip coins, users can earn rewards for sharing valuable insights, participating in discussions, and promoting projects, and providing meaningful feedback. This incentivizes, active engagement and encourages the sharing of quality content. So you literally get paid to post. That's crazy. And not only that, but on the platform, you can stake snips. So you can compound that yield. You can claim daily rewards, and you can, again, re-compound those rewards back into your position. And it's just a flywheel. And this is all happening right now in Snipverse on Proton's WebAuth wallet technology. This is game changing. And it's like weird that people aren't waking up to this, which I firmly believe that they will over time. It's all just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if anymore. It's a matter of when. But this is something that I firmly believe everybody on this call right now should go take a look at. No, not telling you guys to go out there and buy snips by any means. I'm not shilling it, but just go read the docs. Go do your due diligence, read the docs, type in Google, XPR network, Snipverse docs, find the docs, read it, and gather your own opinion. After you've done that, then you can move accordingly, right? But don't ignore this technology. Even if it's just you going and learning about it, what's possible, you don't have to go out and buy it. But if you at least know what's possible and what potential you have, especially if you're a crypto enthusiast and you're already constantly posting anyways, why not take advantage of it, right? Because other people are. And that's what goes back to what I was saying is the people that learn DeFi, that learn yield generation, that learn how to compound their bags and grow their wealth. And then now they're going to supersede the people that don't. It's just the facts.
I agree with you, bro. I totally agree with you. And based on where we're at, I feel like covering this ecosystem right now in this moment, the way we are compared to how everyone else is looking at crypto and looking elsewhere, this is a legendary space today, bro. Real talk. Yeah. There's a legendary space today. We had Marshall retweet us. We had Will in here as well. Will Cleaver, who's part of the Metallicus team as well. And then we also had we had Paul. Like today was legendary day today.
Today was a great day. I'll end it reverting back to Marshall Hayner's original post that we started this call out with. By the way, shout out to you guys for tapping in with us. I know that this wasn't our traditional Friday podcast. We actually have a protocol being built out on the XRP ecosystem on our Friday call this upcoming week. So make sure that you guys tune in with us on that Friday call. Lending and borrowing platform, Show Finance being built out on the XRPL EVM sidechain. We're going to have them on our Friday podcast, but thank you guys for tuning in with us today. We're going to wrap it up here for the sake of the length of this call. We do appreciate the love and the support. Always bring you guys facts. I mean, there were a couple of opinionated, comments made in today's breakdown, but the vast majority of what we share with you guys today is all fact-based information that you guys can go and check on yourselves. That is our goal here in the CYPRX 1228 Club, is to give you guys the facts and to pick apart and separate the tribalism and the speculative hype and the nonsense that exists out there on the internet and give you guys institutional research-backed insights that actually matter in this space. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that type of approach today. We really do appreciate, like I said, all the love and the support for coming out. So I'm going to end it here, and then I'll tell you guys where to find us at and come tap into our community if you guys choose to do so. So Marshall here said that we will reverse the course of history where young people look back, not on the debt that they accrued, but the money that they saved, earned, and invested. We will teach them to fish, and they will teach their children to fish. Money is a concept, and that concept is metal. I love that because that just goes hand in hand with what we're doing at the Wealth 28 Club, where, in the Wealth 28 Club, we're about to host our first ever CYPRX Wealth 28 Club link up. And look at, this is crazy. And what's allowing us to do this? Crypto wealth. We're not able to afford a mansion like this because we're just some random dudes on the internet, right? We invited 22 of our private community members out to this mansion to come and hang out and collaborate and network with us in person in real time. And this is all because of the wealth that we're building in crypto right now, because of the information that we're providing, because of the things that we're doing in the space, because of the active engagement that we're involved with, and not the speculative, unrealistic bullcrap that everybody else gravitates towards. So come tap in with us. If you guys want to lock in with us in the CYPRX 1228 Club, you guys want to learn DeFi. If you don't know about DeFi, you want to watch us risk our hard-earned digital assets out there in the DeFi ecosystem instead of you risking yours, come tap in with us. Go through the content. You guys can always cancel your subscription if it doesn't suit your best interest to maintain your subscription and stay in line with the updates on a monthly basis that we deliver. You guys can head over to CYPRXtrading.com. You can tap in with us. If you guys want access to any of the research that we shared in today's call, thorough panel discussions that never reach the mainstream, documents from the largest organizations in this space that are actually making waves in the crypto industry on a constant daily basis, lock in with us in the CYPRX Discord. There's hundreds of non-mainstream crypto and Web3 related research in the space. We have global researchers working around the clock, always tapping in, locking in, and sharing the best valued information that the crypto ecosystem has to provide that is never in the mainstream eye. As always, many blessings to you guys. Be cognizant. If you guys are watching this as a recording, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Shout out to Marshall, Paul, and it was that Will as well. Yeah, on the call. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully you guys send us a DM and we could get something going, get you guys on a podcast. We'd love to have you on a space. That's all I got for today. Aqua, if you have anything for the people listening, let it be known now.
Yeah, nah, much love to everybody. Appreciate everyone who tapped in. And yeah, I hope those seeds start to sprout and you guys really seen, what we were putting down today, because a lot of what we're putting down is not our opinion, showing you actual facts. And yeah, it comes with our opinion behind those facts, of course, but like, we're not out here just blurting an opinion coming from left field and we have no idea why these guys are saying what they're saying. We've made ourselves, and that's the type of IQ level that we're talking about. Oh wait, never mind. Never mind. I thought you guys were saying never mind.
Let's cut it there, Aqua.
I get confused with that name, man. I was like, wait a second, who are you saying that to? But yeah, someone said proton pussy. That's a meme on the XPR network. So, but yeah, much love to everybody.
Blessings to you guys. Everybody take it easy. Aquaman, holler at you, brother.
Later.
All right, man.
Metal is king, baby.